This week's episode, fire. I'm in the gym with my dog, Buff McGruff. Listen, this week's episode, we talking recovery. We talking about how to overcome the odds once you've been down for a bit, fighting recidivism. We talking health is wealth. We talking the necessity for men to be physically fit that can pour into your mental health. And I got none other better than the one and only. Y'all gonna want to tune in for this one. Let's get to the show. I'm tired. Yo, hello experts. This is Joshua back at you again, episode 4. Hope you all have been enjoying just the rollout of the pod so far. Man, the feedback has been amazing. I really appreciate all of you who have been watching, subscribed and shared and commented. Those who know me personally, who have texted me and just encouraged this work, encouraged me. It's been really, really cool, man. And so we are back, episode 4. And man, listen, I kind of just get used to me saying like I'm really excited every single episode because I really legit do be excited for every time I get to kind of go a little further down this path on this platform. And so I am excited because we got a good one for you today. But before we get into that, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Y'all see me repping the There's Hope brand. And so listen, go over to their platform to peruse their fashion catalog. Y'all see Rich on the There's Hope segment offering up nuggets for hope, because There's Hope is not just a clothing brand, it's a worldview. And so big shout out to our sponsors there. Listen, before we get into the show, man, make sure that you're liking, you're subscribing, you're turning your notifications on, you're telling your people to go watch it, because this is a space where there will prayerfully be a value exchange. If you don't know, we're going to show that this pod exists to enlighten, educate, and empower every human being to be the expert version of themselves. And so you're in the right place at the right time. And someone who I got on the show today is like the perfect avatar for that tagline. This is someone who I've known for a while, who, I have a good relationship with. I'm not going to front like we besties, but someone who I've seen from afar off, and just respected their personhood, their manhood, the way that they carry themselves, the level of ownership that he takes with the various roles I see him operate in, that I've seen him operate in over the years. And so, man, it's a real pleasure. It's a real joy to have my brother on the show, Robert. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Listen, bruh, for real. I know I done said it off camera a couple of times, but I want everyone to hear it, and just to hear the level of like authenticity, you know what I'm saying, to like my appreciation for you being on the show. Because so my wife, in kind of in the preparation mode for the show, I was talking to her about like different guests and who I want to have on, and I was asking her like to help me think through that process or whatever. And she was like, yo, who do you want to have on the show? And the way that she said it, it just kind of resonated with me, like, okay, the type of people that I want to come and have like sit on the couch and unpack with me are people who I want to talk to. I love y'all, but this is really like a cheat code for me, because I get a chance to like really ask questions and kind of dig into the thought processes, the experiences, the habits, the disciplines of people who like inspire me. And so when I say, bro, like, I really appreciate you being on the show, not to like geek out and or whatever, but like I'm a huge fan of just kind of all that I see you represent, you know what I'm saying, in the community. Every time I see you, you kind of got a certain stilo about you. That's something that, is inspiring. And, when they say like game, recognize game, like, okay, he wanted them. And so, bruh, I appreciate you. I
Yes,
really,
sir,
really
man. I
do.
appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. And so we got Robert Brothers on the show today, and we're going to talk about a couple things, man. One, I want to just kind of run down like what I perceive to be like your resume in a sense, and why I wanted you on the show. One, you're someone who um, I think embodies like old school traditional like masculine values. Like when I think about how like my uncle would have carried himself in the world at a certain time in history, and the type of principles that he would have lived with and stuff like that, or just the way that he saw the world in terms of like his place in the world as a man. Like not to date you like you from the '60s or something like that, but like you give me like real traditional masculine values that's not like over indexing or like out of proportion where it's like you want some toxic masculinity type stuff, but like the way that you carry yourself. Also, man, just your work in the community, all these things we're going to talk about, but like your work in the community is something that I've been on the receiving end of. Your story, which I want to get into, and just how you've overcome a lot of odds and stuff like that. And then, your faith, your family, you're very, very open-handed, what I'm saying, with allowing the world to kind of see how you love your wife, how you're present and there for your kids. And so those are all things that's like, I gotta have bro on the show, because these are things that I think that not only that I have gotten value from just observing, but I think that a lot of people would get value out of too. And so with all that said, man, I want to ask you, how are you doing? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty
Okay.
good. Been a long day, but hey, every day long.
For sure, for sure. Um, I remember reading a quote a long time ago where they were, and I don't, not to ascribe burning yourself out, but it was like, if a man go to bed not tired, like something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be like, I'm exhausted by the day. It's been a long day just from all the different things that we should be pouring ourselves out into. And so man, bro, I really want to jump into it because we kind of talked a little bit before we started recording just about how we met, because we both were a little unsure. We have an idea of how we met, but like the exact timeline and the locations and all of that. And so I want to like talk about that, because that is a part of your story that I think is incredible. And so I haven't told my like full story on the pod yet, as it relates to like being locked up and kind of all of that. But you and I met not at the work release, right?
Yeah.
We met kind of in passing, because I was so the church that I was going to, and I'm still a part of at the time, they went by a different name. Do you remember when it used to be called Mount Calvary?
I don't remember when it was called Mount Calvary. I just remember Love Center.
Love Center. Okay. Okay. So before it was Love Center, it was Mount Calvary, and they were coming to the work release,
Okay.
and they were doing Bible studies. And then you already know how work release go on Sunday. You can kind of, there were like two different churches you could choose from if you wanted to go, and they were one of them. But at the time, they were called Love Center at Mount Calvary. And so I was going there, and then I got out March 29, 2009.
Okay.
When did you come home?
2013 July.
13?
I came home in 13.
They were still doing the transportation, like they were still providing transportation to come to the church at that time from work release.
I think so. I actually, when I was at the work release, they actually sent me back to the prison, and I EOS'd in 2013. But I think this was in 2011 or 12.
Okay, okay. So I kind of want to talk. Why they send you back?
They said I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. So I was at Bavar. I was at Bavar CI.
Okay.
No, I was at Bavar CI, and we had went to breakfast. So we came. So after breakfast, we came back in, and we had a female officer in there. So it's 4 pods, and so she got all these inmates in the hallway. So she opened up a door, and she walking by. One of the inmates grabbed on her butt. And she turned around.
No.
She turned around and she was like, "Did you just touch me?" He's like, "Ma'am, I swear that wasn't me."
The person who did it said that.
She grabbed the right one, but she wasn't for sure because it was he grabbed her from behind. So he said, "Ma'am, he just ran in pod 3 or something like that." So she went to go look in pod 3. Somebody from pod 4 reached and grabbed her butt. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Hold on, twice?
Grabbed it twice. Not the same person. It's two different people. So I'm like, "Oh my god, they finna come in here." Man, the people came in there.
Oh, they tore that mother down.
They picked 6 people.
Uh-huh.
Guess who was one of the ones that got picked? I was one of the ones that got picked.
Okay.
I was so mad.
Did you swing on a dude who you know?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
The funny thing is, when we ended up getting transferred, he was one of the ones that got transferred to the camp I went to.
Mm.
The inmates there, for some reason, they beat him up, doing stuff out in the yard and everything. It was crazy.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get better as an interviewer because we jumped in without a lot of context. I want to take it back because I know where I want us to get to. Okay. So you and I met because we had a similar kind of launching pad from the work release. I came home 2009, and then there was a stint where you were coming to the church, same way that I was from work release and going back. And so, you know, I haven't really told my story or whatever in terms of like me being incarcerated for a few years or whatever. But how much time did you do? How long were you down?
Well, I was actually down twice.
Okay.
So that time when, we had met, I was down. I caught 7 years, but I only ended up doing 6.
So let me ask you this, because I got so many questions swirling now because there's a whole lot that I think that we can unpack about this. Like, do you still remember your DC number?
Whoever forgets their DC number, that's something you'll never forget.
I thought it was just me.
No, you'll never forget your DC number.
That's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. It's gonna make me look like a punk, but I'm gonna tell you a story anyway. I remember when I caught my charge. So first of all, I was super green when I got locked up. I didn't really know there was a difference between jail and prison. I had been to jail a few times. I'm like, I eat jail up. You know what I'm saying? Not to like make it, but and even when I said that, like I was in there for like possession. It was minor possession though. So like I was in there for 2-3 days and then they released me or I bond out or whatever. And so when I caught my charge this time and they sentenced me to 7, but I did 5 years and then 2 years probation. But after 5, I did 4 years and 3 months. And so from there, I went to Lake Butler, which at the time, it was just such a culture shock. And like, you know the whole situation. They shave your head, they give you, and that junk was so dehumanizing, bro. Like I remember, because it's really a psychological thing. You know what I'm saying? When you get off that bus, you taking your clothes off, you butt naked, like you can't cover nothing up, bend over, cough. It's like 30 dudes in a line, just, and it's female officers. It's like, yo, I'm on soft. Like, like I'm only used to exposing my package when he ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like y'all just go, I'm on soft. You just go look at me right now to the females, right? Yeah. And like none of that matters. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going into like the reception and then they giving you your blues or whatever, you taking your picture, you getting your badge and all of that. And I just remember psychologically, it was almost like the deeper I went into the prison, it was like another level of psychological like breakdown for me. And so go through that night and then count time comes. I don't know my DC number. So it's a white guard, it's a lady. Now Lake Butler, old school, like they got the Shawshank Redemption joints with like the bars like, you know what I'm saying? And so she coming by, count time, boom, boom, boom. I'm on the top rack. She like, number. I'm like, J. She like, number. I'm like, J. Bruh, when I tell you, this lady, dog cussed me so bad. I already was going through like some psychological trauma just to even get to that point. I was full. And then by the time I got there and I couldn't remember my DC number, bro, when I tell you this lady cussed me out for like 5 minutes, called me everything but the N-word. And in Lake Butler, they'll call you the N-word crazy and quit anyway. And bro, she cussed me out for like 5 minutes, dog. I have not forgotten my DC number since then. This was 2009.
Wow.
I ain't gonna say it because I don't want people being nosy. But that number and them five, that letter and them 5 numbers. So I always wonder if like that was just me or like my like experience with it. But you say you still remember your joint.
I still remember and I first got incarcerated in 2002.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
Okay. So, man, what was like, okay, because I remember like emotionally, mentally, what I was processing, what I was thinking, you know, as reality is sinking in, like, oh, I'm finna do this time. Like, what was like that initial kind of process for you as you're thinking through, like, snap, I'm finna be here, you know what I'm saying?
I was already prepared for it because I knew what I had did. My first charge was a bank robbery charge.
Now, I got a little bit of...
it was a bank robbery charge.
Okay. My uncle used to rob banks.
Yeah, I actually went to trial on it and everything.
Okay.
I lost trial on a lesser included offense. So I didn't lose on armed robbery. I lost on just straight robbery, which carried 15 years. I got sentenced to 5 years, Department of Corrections, 10 years probation.
And so when you... I'm assuming the second stint was because you violated the probation. They sent you back for... Okay. Yeah, when I had 2 years of probation, bro, I was John the Baptist. I was not doing nothing. After I did them 4.5, I was like, oh, if I got to stay locked in a room for 2 years, I'm not violating. And they still try to violate me towards the end. So, like, you said you were prepared. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you were coming in?
I was prepared because when I was in there, a lot of people that I actually knew from the street already knew I was going to prison. And they were just preparing me, telling me what I was going to be up against, what I was going to face and all that. So I was already kind of like mentally, psychologically prepared for what I was going to face.
Wow. I'll tell you another funny story, man. So, because I got the charge I caught that sent me up was armed robbery too. And ironically enough, it was my uncle who also used to rob banks that kind of like inspired it in me. I used to have this... Anyway, that's another whole ratchet little story. But my uncle was the one. I was like, man, I used to be doing like little petty stuff and hustling and stuff. And then I see my uncle rob a bank. And I remember one night I'm going, like, he like, yo, meet me at this hotel. This is in Duval. So I go to this hotel and he like had all his money on the bed and he looking at me because he from Baltimore. We from Baltimore. Okay. So he like, yeah, youngin, you see that? You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. This is a day's work. It was like 100 bands on the bed. And I'm like 16. So in my mind, I'm like, man, where the nearest bank at? I'm finna go get it. And so, you know, obviously that wasn't good role modeling. Yeah. But you're saying people was kind of preparing you, so you didn't really have like that initial like, oh snap type of...
Not really, but when you actually got to get there, you get butt naked. That's like degrading. Like, oh my, and like you say, I'm like almost soft and bent over coughing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Like I didn't like it.
So, and there's a reason why I'm taking my time with like unpacking this part of your story and of your life because when we talk about recidivism, right, which for those who don't know, recidivism is just the process of like, once you get locked up once, the probability of you going back just gets higher and higher and higher. And for you to be where you're at now, we're going to kind of talk about your story moving forward, you know, but it's like, that's something like, that's a big thing that I think in terms of how you overcame that is something to kind of talk about, but I still want to like stay there for a little bit. What were some moments in prison that you were like, I cannot come back here again? Were there any experiences, any stories where you was like, this is something, I cannot do this no more?
Just a lot of them, especially when I was at Bavard and that thing happened with the female officer and they...
Talking about what they was touching the butt?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was one of the 6 that got picked. Man, the people handcuffed me, slapped me. when I was at Polk CI, I actually seen an inmate in a thong, and I'm like, oh my god, this some just different stuff. Like I'm like, oh my god, like, and then just being away from my family, like my last prison sentence, I'm just like, I'm done. Like told God, I was like, just open the door for me. I said, you open the door. I said, I'm gonna go through it. I said, I ain't gonna look back. He opened that door for me. I'm not looking back.
Did you have like family or friends that, cause all like, so for me, right, I had all my homeboys, you know what I'm saying, before I got locked up, like we clicked tight, we called ourselves starting a gang and all of that. And so like we riding for one another. After about 3 months, I ain't hear nothing from nobody. I had one chick who was writing me a little bit. I fell in love with her so quick. I
It
was
be
like,
like that.
I fell in love with her so quick when she started writing me. It was like I got put in prison all over again. What, but like, did you have people that were there, like, kind of with you as you doing your time, or?
My mama, my sister, but as far as friends, no, I didn't. And I mean, it's like that. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you away, it's like you out of sight, out of mind.
Right,
Besides, your family, you out
right,
of sight, out of mind.
right. Did you have any kids before going in?
Thank God I didn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was looking up something. I was looking up some, just in kind of preparation. The reason why I wanted to, like, when I give you your flowers, and we was talking a little bit off camera, and I was like, bruh, I don't even know if you give yourself the credit you deserve, because, and I know I sent it to you as well. So I was looking up on Beyonce's internet, and this is a study according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics that finds that 66% of people who are released from prison are rearrested within 3 years. 66%. So if you go to prison and you come out, 66% of the time you're going to get locked back up within 3 years. This really blew my mind. And 82% of those same people are rearrested within 10 years. That's 8 out of 10 people that go to prison. Statistically, they going back within the next 10 years. That means that you and I are in the 20 percentile of success rates of people who, like, yo, they go to prison, they hit that yard, they get a DC number, they all the dehumanizing stuff, and it's like, yo, that door is open. I'm never going back. I'm never going to put myself in a space to like have to jeopardize my freedom in my life again. Bruh, 20%.
It's crazy.
I like that statistic in itself is crazy, which lends itself to like we don't have like a rehabilitative like prison system. Like it don't make no sense for them to be rehabilitating people because it's a whole industry. People got jobs. They banking on that 80% to keep paying their mortgage. But for you and I who are the 20%, bro, like do you ever think about how much of an anomaly you are? You're within the 20% of people that has not gone, like that has completely changed the trajectory of their life. Like is that something that you think about as like, man, you're not the rule. You are the exception to the rule.
I mean, I think about it because I think about all the guys that I grew up with, all the friends that's just constantly in and out, in and out, in and out. And they say insanity is, you already know,
Yeah.
doing something
Over and over.
over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
That's insanity. Like, and sometimes I ask my buddies or whatever, the ones that continue to keep going back and forth, like, you ain't tired? You're not tired?
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God that I didn't have kids before I went to prison, and God allowed me to grow up and become a man before I actually started having kids.
Man, okay, we got to get into that. Okay. So, okay, I think that there are some distinct factors between the 80% and the 20%, where it's like, yo, I think that there is some commonality, like in the 20%, in terms of like they think this way or they do this thing or they have this community of people or they get plugged into their church or they have a mentor, whatever it is, right? I feel like if we survey the 20%, we'll be like, oh, okay, this all these people have this in common. Maybe that's why they're the 20%. What are some of the things that has helped you, especially initially, like be successful when that transition happens? Like, what are some of the practical things that you did? You're like, all right, I know this is what I want to do. I know this is the road I want to go down. These are the things that I'm doing. These are the people that I'm going to have around me. These are the things I'm going to expose myself to that's going to help me go down this road. Like the practical things.
Number one, God. I'm telling you that everything that I've accomplished that I wanted to accomplish, I always went to him first. And I prayed about it, and then I began to manifest it. So when I got out, I was living with my mom, and I was like, I got to get a job. I got to get a job. Like, me, I'm the type, well, if I don't have a job, I don't have some source of income, like I'm not being productive, I don't feel manly. I just don't. Like, men are supposed to
provide, produce. Yeah.
So I got my job, and I was working at Crystals for almost 3 years, and I was just like,
the one right up here. Okay.
I was like, and I was telling God, I was like, I need more. I was like, it ain't enough. Like, I want to get out my mom's place. I want to do for myself.
How old were you when you were living with? And I'm saying this for a reason. But I'm asking for a reason. How old were you when living with your mom?
29.
I was living with my grandma at 26. Hated it.
Yeah, I hated it, and I was just like, I need more. And besides, I had a baby on the way too. I got out in July. I think by August, I had a baby.
You weren't playing.
Wasn't playing. Wasn't playing. I had a baby on the way. I'm like,
hold on, wait, July. The next month.
I had a baby on the way.
You see, when I have to count down months, like I'm not smart enough to just remember like a month in the year, like without going through the whole calendar. So when I did it real quick, I'm like, hold on, wait, August is the next month after July. You said it like it was 2 or 3 months removed.
Instantly, boom.
You came out in the park.
What are you playing?
Okay.
Had a baby on the way, and I'm just like, I gotta do more. Like, and not only with that, I started working toward, because I always been obsessed with fitness.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so I heard of ISSA.
What's that?
That's International Sports Science Accreditation. That's you can get your certification to become a personal trainer. All different kind of trainers, bodybuilding specialists, sports nutrition. These are certifications that I achieved.
And hold on, so you got these? What is it? ISSA. You got all of these credentials and these certifications.
Through ISSA.
Okay.
And that was just me trying to go further. But I went from Crystals, I think I left at Crystals making like $9 an hour. Started at Designer Choice Cabinets. Started off at $10. Stayed there for a whole year. I was at $12. Went from there.
I know exactly where that's at too, because I used to work at a spot called Rinko down in that city too.
It's on Morel.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to ride my bike. Yeah.
And then from there, I went to PCM. I did almost 5 years at PCM. I went from making 12. I started at 15. I left PCM making $18 an hour. I left and I tried to do my own thing as far as, being a trainer in a gym. And it was short lived. I'm like, nah, because they're not paying me what I'm worth. So I started working at AVR Boats, and they started me at like almost $19 an hour. So that place closed last year, I think it was. Yeah, it closed last year. So I left from there. I was at $24 an hour. So I called a buddy that I knew, and he got me hired right away at JP Donovan, and they started me at 23, and now I'm making more than that.
Oh my God, bro! I don't really have. The older I get, the more I've embraced like who I am. and that's still a process. But like as you're talking, bro, like bro, I'm just so proud of you, dog, because everything that you saying, like I relate to it to a T. When I came home, '09, lived with my grandma. I was 23, hated it, sleeping on the air mattress. I remember I used to have anxiety about going to Walmart because I was like, so many people. I was like, it just kind of tripped me out.
Yeah.
And so when I would go, I would buy like 7 deodorants, 3 toothpastes. You know what I'm saying? And I remember coming home and I'm putting all this on my dresser. And my grandma walks in the room and she said, baby, you know you can go to the store whenever you want to go. And that was the first time it dawned on me, like, oh snap, I'm still acting like I'm going to commissary, and I don't know if I don't know when I'm gonna go again. And I was like, oh man, that's you know what I'm saying. And so like from there, I was working at the Cocoa Beach Pier as a maintenance man. Can't remember, it was like minimum wage, and then I went from there to working at the dry cleaners right here in town. Also kind of like minimum wage, but I rocked out there for like 3 years, maybe 4 years, worked my way up. I was running that mug. I was in the back. I still love ironing clothes to this day. I was in the back pressing. I was up front running the cash register. I'm doing the late night count. I'm stacking stuff. I'm tagging stuff. And the manager was like, yo, I want you to be like the evening manager. That was after like 3 years. And then I worked at the garage door company right off of, I was there for a couple of years and worked my way up. All this time I had no car. You know what I'm saying? Then when I worked at the spot in Rockledge, I remember. So now we fast forward. I'm probably like 26, 27. I done moved out my grandma's place. I got my own place off of Garden Street, little studio. I was so geeked to have my own place. Oh my goodness. I used to just walk in and out my door. Like that junk gave me joy. I just walk outside, stand on my patio, walk back in and lock the door. I did that a lot. And I remember I had to be in Rockledge at like 8, 9 in the morning. I used to get up at 5, ride my bike down to the bus stop right here at the courthouse, put my bike on the bike rack, get on the bus, ride to Rockledge, get off, take it off, then ride it to the spot I was working at. And I did that for like a good year and some change. And I remember one day in particular, I'll never forget it. That junk crushed my soul. I was still single, baby, so don't trip off of this. I'm riding and it's raining. Now, I'm a man. I got pride, I got ego, I got all of that. And this was like 10 plus something years ago. So now this is factory work, boom, boom, boom. Everybody get in their cars, they going home, it's raining outside. I got to get on my bike. And as I'm riding down the street on my bike, people who I'm working with, females. And bruh, I'm so glad it was raining because I was crying. And you couldn't tell the tears from the rain. And it was just me, the Holy Spirit, and my ego getting pummeled. And I remember just riding. You remember that scene from Don't Be a Menace? The one with the Wayans remix where Sean came in, he was swinging. He was like, that's how I was on the bike, throwing a full temper tantrum. And I'm bringing it up when I say I'm so proud of you, like in terms of that 20%, bro, because it is a matter of like, yo, there will be a season where you're gonna have to be low. You're gonna have to eat crap. You're gonna have to stick it out. You're gonna have to be embarrassed. You're gonna have to be humble. You're gonna have to be, and it's like, bro. So when I say and that junk, I know how hard it was for me. So like even as I'm like, oh, everything that you're saying, just different jobs, different scenarios, but like very same timeline process. And so even like when I talk to dudes now, everybody come out like, I ain't going back. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got some mental problem going on. And when I talk to dudes now, I'm like, bro, if you're really trying to recover, bro, give yourself at least 5, 7 years to kind of like probably build up. God can do anything, but like to kind of build up some repetition, They don't want to. That's the thing. And I won't even say that I know how hard it was for now. This is why I moved from Duval to where I live now. Because had I been, and this is kind of what makes your story even more like incredible, because you still live in the same city where you got roots and ties from. I went on a furlough back from work release one time. I drove there 2 hours and 2 hours back just to kick it for 4 hours. And my homeboys came back around on the same thing. Yeah, bro, we going clubbing. Yeah. And now I'm working out and eating 3 meals a day, all that starch, all them beans and potatoes, and like and these boys looking skinny. These are my dogs. I love them. And it was at that moment I was like, I can't come back here because I knew I'm not strong enough. Like I felt in the moment like we gonna do what? She still where she at? I was like, I can't come back here. And so for you to even come back where you had roots and family and history and friendships, like that even make kind of your story even more unique because you kind of went back into the same situation but was able to still like transform your life or whatever. Okay, this is the last thing and then we'll kind of move on from this. Like what were some of the unexpected challenges that you faced when you came home? Like you knew you had a game plan, you had your mind made up, you knew who you wanted to be, but what were some of the unexpected challenges, like man, that you didn't factor in having to like work through?
Not having a car for one.
Mm.
Oh no, I can't really say that there was no unexpected because I expected everything.
Hmm.
I prayed to God about it, and I'm a firm believer in God.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe in him to the utmost. I mean, as far as even having a conversation with him, he telling me stuff and it's coming to pass, I'm like, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
So nothing is really unexpected to me.
Yeah.
I expect, I expect everything.
Yeah.
That comes.
It's important. Like once again, bro, because I think if the 80% can hear the 20% of like, and this is not to like create a classism where it's like, well, the 20% got it figured out. They're better. Nah, like I could have easily even post, like I done made a couple decisions. It was like, you know what I'm saying? You probably could have put yourself in some mess. But I think a lot of times, like when I came home, I didn't have a Robert that I could be like, bro, how should I navigate? You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things I should do? What are some of the, things I should avoid? That it would have been helpful for me because like I had to kind of just figure out like, okay, who should I be hanging around, not be hanging around? What are some habits I should continue? Actually a lot of things like in terms of the disciplines and the regiment that the prison life kind of brings. I was like, yo, I'm not just gonna lay that down just because I'm home now. Like, let me keep up working out when I work, like the time frame that I work out, eating how I was eating, reading how I was reading. Like my wife would tell you, like she thought I was in the military when we met. She was like, "Man, you so disciplined. You served in the military." I was like, "I served in the other branch." Okay, man. I just think that's really instructive, bro. Like once again, when I say I'm proud, bro, it's because it's you meet somebody who I know the level of mental and emotional fortitude it takes to be like, yeah, I'm down bad and I gotta recover. Like I ain't on level ground. Like when I came home, like I'm at a deficit. I gotta put some work in just to get on level ground. And then over the course of time and faith, like, you start kind of leveling up your life. Like I know what that looked like.
Can I want to say something real quick. So when I was in prison, I was at Hamilton CI, and every time I would come in the dorm, well, anywhere I would go, I would always have a smile. So it was a female officer. She was always watching me, and she hit the glass one day. I came in, boom. She said, "Come here." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "You be up to something, don't I?" I say, "No, ma'am. Why you say that?" She say, "Every time I see you, got a smile on your face." She said, "You be up to something."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "No, ma'am, I don't." She said, "Well, why you always smiling?" I said, "Because I'm physically incarcerated. I'm not mentally incarcerated."
Wow.
And that, I'm talking about, she was like, "Wow." I said, "I'm just physically incarcerated." I say, "They ain't lock up my mind."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I know we can ready to take a quick break, but like, were you a reader? Like, what's some of your habits in there? That
Reading, playing chess. I love chess.
Okay.
Writing poems. I love writing.
Let me find out. You still write poems?
I ain't wrote none in a while.
You a big teddy bear. You a big teddy bear out here.
Yeah, I ain't wrote none in a while. I can write though.
You got something memorized you want to spit for us? I'll snap.
No, I ain't got nothing memorized, but I'm very I don't want to say very intelligent, but I'm very cerebral. Like I like to read and I grab stuff. And
yeah.
I'm very, very cerebral.
I can see that. We got to have you back on the show to a special poem edition. You ain't gonna commit to it.
I mean, it ain't a rap. It's poems. Like
like poems. You get on your Langston Hughes. You know what I'm saying? One of them joints. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, man. We're going to shoot over to, you already know, our There's Hope segment, man. Y'all stay tuned. We coming right back, talking to Robert. And, yeah, man, this is good stuff, man. We'll see you when you get back.
Oh, it's y'all again, my expert human family. What's going on? Here's your There's Hope segment of the week. You gotta fight. I want to make sure that you're reminded this week to fight. It's no other option. It's no other option but to fight. The first point I want to make is you are made for this. God has sovereignly equipped you for the fight. I know you may get in your head sometimes. I know the obstacles may seem too big for you, but trust me when I tell you, as your brother in life, as your fellow expert human, you are made for this fight. And secondly, like all of us, you're not fighting alone. We're all fighting something in one way or another. And more importantly, God is with you. You know what I'm saying? God is with you. The Bible says he will never leave us, never forsake us. And through Jesus, by the Holy Spirit, he's always with us. So you're not fighting alone. And lastly, I just want to say the victory is already won. Jesus told his disciples, don't be afraid, for I've already conquered the world. You know what I'm saying? Things are going to be difficult. You're going to be disliked. That's in every aspect of life, not just faith, but there's times at work. There's time within family dynamics, within friendship dynamics, with even encounters with strangers. You know, it's just challenging. But at the end of the day, the battle is already won. We just got to show up with the mindset to fight. And as I always say to my expert human family, no matter what you've experienced in the past, and no matter what you're facing right now, there's hope. Let's get on the front line because we fighting this week. Let's get to it. See y'all next week.
All right, welcome back, y'all. We've been talking this whole time during the break, man. This prison stories is just crazy, man. How God preserved us and kept us, and so much, man. So anyway, so that part of your life, I'm assuming, is probably like a huge, like that part, meaning like the prison stint, and then even the recovery after that. I'm assuming is a big part of like what motivates you for all of the community work that you do. Because every time I see you at that gym, you at the park training some kids, all of the content pretty much that you post online be about training kids. You low-key funny on Facebook too. I almost want to talk about that post about, you know what I'm talking about? I was like, you gonna let her finish though. Big nasty behind.
I always being funny. I always
bro. Then you try to post to clarify, like I ain't with none of that. I wanted to be like, nah, bro. The first post is the truthful post. But even like a lot of stuff you post online, it be like community engagement. You grew up here, you know everybody, you know our producer, who behind the camera or whatever. Like, what is like the motivator for you to be so involved in the community, with particularly like with these kids? Because that's you mostly be with the kids. Like, where does that motivation come from?
That comes from me not having a father growing up, and me wanting what I'm giving them is what I wanted growing up. I wanted a sense of hope, somebody giving me something to do, somebody doing it with me, showing me, teaching me, just engaging.
Yeah.
And that's all I wanted growing up. And maybe I wouldn't have went the route that I went, but it's good that I did go the route. Because everybody ain't everybody's path is different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably a blessing that I actually went the way that I went.
It's important for people to hear this too, because you're not just kind of talking about what the issues are, because we can drive down the street and kind of see the things that our community needs. What are some of the programs that you've created, some of the initiatives and things that you are actually doing with particularly the young men in our community, like specifically, like, what are you doing?
I I teach boxing. I teach them how to box.
And you got your own fighting edge.
It's not mine's.
Okay.
But I am the coach. I make sure that, they get what they need as far as teaching them how to, properly fight, properly throw a punch, get them out, get them sparring. And if they want to actually compete, they're able to compete.
What is the benefit of that? Because if I'm on the other side of it and I'm like, why we need to be teaching, I think somebody from the outside looking in would be like, why we need to be teaching young boys how to fight, and y'all already too aggressive and too like, what do you see as the value in teaching them, like, just the boxing game?
I mean, it teaches them, because these kids nowadays, they gotta go pick up a gun. They want to go pick up a gun. It's because they don't know how to defend themselves. They are scared to get hit, And us growing up in the 80s, that's what we did. We can fight each other and be right back friends.
Yeah.
It was, a little scratch here, black eye. We live.
Couple of jokes.
A
couple of jokes, but you good.
Live to fight another day. These kids nowadays, all they think of kill, pow, pow, bang, bang.
Mm-hmm.
And then life just gone completely.
So you got the boxing program that you do here at Fighting Edge. What because I see you training a lot of kids, not at the gym, but it looks like you be training them for like football. I be seeing you with the sleigh, the parachutes. Like, is that an official program, or those are just like one-offs where you like, hey, I'm at the park. If you want to get the work in, like, meet me up here.
I don't want to say it's a program. We actually getting ready for football, and I do it to draw the kids in, because a lot of kids, like last year when I was coaching, and a lot of kids, they don't really properly know how to play the sport of football. They like it, they visually see it and like it, but they don't understand it. And a lot of the coaches that I was coaching with would, make comments like, "Oh, they sorry." I'm like, no kid is sorry. They just don't understand. We got to teach them that, and that's why I take time out and I actually teach it, and I help them get better. Maybe their speed ain't up to date, and I help them, with speed, coordination, all that stuff.
I got you. And so we were talking about this a little bit before we started the show, because I didn't even know, like, okay, so you're a professional fighter.
Yes, sir.
You have how many? Is it amateur fights, or like, how do I word that? Like, because you were saying in order to be considered a professional fighter, you got to have X amount of fights.
Yeah, in order to be a professional fighter, you have to have 5 amateur fights up under your belt. As far as with the USA Boxing, all mine wasn't through USA Boxing. I fought I'm trying to see how I can explain it. I don't want to say underground, because it wasn't underground. It just wasn't through USA Boxing.
Okay.
So I fought for Undisputed Promotions, Anthony Arvello. He used to throw amateur boxing shows, but now he's more to the professionals.
Okay. How many amateur fights have you fought though?
I fought over 20 something amateur fights, and that's with boxing and MMA.
So I want to get to the MMA thing. What's your boxing record?
What, my amateur or my pro?
Both.
So my pro boxing record is 0-2-1.
0-2-1. Your pro is 0-2-1. So that's no wins, 2 draws,
2 losses, and 1 draw.
No wins,
2 losses,
2 losses, and 1 draw. Okay. And what about
my amateur?
Your
boxing?
amateur, yeah.
I don't even remember. I don't remember it.
See, I was getting ready to say something just because I'm just like that. Because when you told me you're pro, I was like, oh, I can whoop you. I was like, but then we get out there, it's like, nah.
Oh man, that's funny.
I wouldn't attempt it.
It's funny because a lot of people, God bless, my nephew. He got killed probably like 2, almost 3 years ago.
Oh no. Okay.
So it's a kid I was training. Guy I was training named Jermaine. And my nephew was telling me he can beat Jermaine. I'm like, you can't beat Jermaine.
Okay.
So, and my nephew a fighter.
Okay.
I'm like, nephew, I don't think you want to do that. So he convinced himself he did. He got in there with Jermaine. Jermaine ain't hit him in the head not one time. He just punched him to the body, made him quit.
And these is all that, like, they got the headgear, gloves, everything.
He just punched him to the body, made him quit.
What, like a liver shot?
He just kept hitting him to the body. Boom, boom, boom. He quit. He's like, I don't want to go no more. I'm done.
So, okay, because I know, on camera you can't see like his full stature. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
And
245 pounds.
Y'all see how he said that? Like, you think you can whoop me? It was a different, you heard it too? It was a different, like, octave. I caught it. Bro, it was a joke, bro. It was, he's like, 6'4", 240. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, 245. Okay, so, like, how do you, because I would imagine being not only your size, but your stature, your combat fighting experience, I feel like it would be a thing to manage with, like, yo, if you out and about and somebody, let's just say somebody do something that's disrespectful, whatever the case may be, I would think that you would have to think to yourself, fighting is not really a possibility. Because if somebody see you, they're like, I ain't trying to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we going straight to gunplay or knife play or grenade play or something like that. Like, I ain't finna try and fight. Like, how is that a reality that you live with? Where
that is a reality. And believe me, I always think I'm a thinking man.
Okay.
And I always assess the situation. Like, now if I can visibly see you have a weapon, I'm back down. Like, I ain't crazy.
Yeah.
I live to fight another day.
Right.
I ain't crazy. I know I ain't beating no gun.
So, I mean, because once again, like, your size, your stature, even though you carry yourself very meek though, for like all of the ambiance, or not ambiance, but like just how you carry yourself. Like, have you been in situations where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna spare you because you don't even know that you poking the bear, like, for other people?
Yeah, I have. On one occasion, it was a guy that was arguing with my wife. I'm like, dude, like, chill.
Yeah.
He tell, I'm a professional boxer. I'm gonna go to. I'm like, bro, just chill. I don't. And he was a tiny, like, I'm like, just chill, man. Like, we don't have to even go there.
Yeah. So, you did some MMA as well. Is there a specific, like, because you got like jujitsu, you got taekwondo?
I was more of a boxer / kickboxer.
Okay.
So I hated fighting wrestlers because they want to get you on the ground.
Has that been an interaction or like a bout or a sparring session where you got into it with somebody and you was like, oh, this, like, not necessarily admit that somebody whooped you, but like, oh man, this person really, like, they're able to get the best of me type of situation?
In the sparring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I faced a couple guys like that. That, like, my thing is, I like to spar with people that's better than me. I like to go in there with people that's better than me, because that's what's going to make me get better. If I'm sparring guys that's not better than me, what am I learning? They learning from me, but I'm not learning from them.
Yeah.
So I want to get in there with the guys that are going to punch me around the ring, and because I'm going to learn.
Okay, so before we move on from this, is there any way that people can maybe like donate to you? Because you do a lot of work in the community. I'm sure a lot of like buying the equipment, buying Gatorades or water or like that stuff come out of your own pocket. Is there a way that people can kind of like donate to your effort or contribute in any kind of way to, like, to the community effort that you're doing week in and week out?
I mean, they can go on Facebook and reach out to me. I have my own LLC. I'm All Out Clutch Performance.
Okay.
And so they can reach out to me.
What's this? Okay, All Out Clutch Performance. That's your fitness company. Like what?
I'm actually trying to get away from more of doing the fitness. I like doing the athletic training. I
Okay,
love training athletes.
okay. And what was the place you said you got your credentialing? So it was ISSA.
That's who I got my bodybuilding specialist, my fitness coach, personal training, and my sports nutritionist certifications through. I have a athletic training certification through OTA, overtime athletes.
For all of you listening out there, who want to support just kind of this great effort, man. I see bro in the community week in and week out, working with, you know, countless kids, and so definitely make sure you support. Just It's all clutch performance,
All out
all out,
clutch performance.
all out clutch
Yeah,
performance.
I'm actually working with a guy that's finna be drafted this week in the NFL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been getting him that work.
Okay.
He was like, "Are you capable of?" I be having him stretched out.
All right. Listen, you want your sons to go to the league, all out clutch performance.
All out clutch performance.
All right. You want to be league babies, all out clutch performance. Tapping with them. Y'all see your socials on the screen. So you reference your wife, somebody trying, some poor man out there about to lose his head, trying your wife. You are married. How long you been married now?
5 years.
Really? I feel like it's been longer than that.
Been 5 years. We've been together longer than that.
Okay. And how many kids y'all have together?
2.
Both boys?
Both boys. But I have 4 kids. I got 4 boys.
So you weren't playing when you came home. You were just like,
I got 4 boys.
4 boys.
One finna be 11 next month. One is 9, 6, and my baby 3.
Okay. So how has being a father like impacted you? Because you said very similar, like, without growing up without your pops, I know there are areas where my sons are teaching me things that I didn't realize I needed when I was younger, but I can see it now because I'm giving it to them. Like what has being a father kind of taught you over these years?
Being a father, I don't know, it's taught me to be more, I don't know, like I was this hard type of person, like, oh, you ain't supposed to cry, boys don't cry. I don't do that to my boys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. You ain't supposed to do that. Don't do that to them. You let them cry. That's how they express themselves.
Yeah.
I ask them, why you crying? I always ask them, what you crying for?
Mm-hmm.
I say, so why are you crying?
Yeah.
I just want, like, I always ask them, why are you crying?
Yeah.
Tell me why you crying. And I don't tell them, oh, because you crying, I'm going to whoop you. No, I ain't going to whoop you because you crying.
Mm-hmm. Are there areas like when you're parenting that, so I know for me, right, there have been moments as a father where because of whatever the scenario or the context of the situation is and how I responded to it, it was eye-opening to me about either some hurt or pain or trauma or mindset. I was like, yo, I need to address this in me that I didn't even realize was a thing until I started interacting with my children. Like very similarly, like, I used to really be I was on that like, yo, toughen up type energy. Yeah. Because I didn't have a father figure there. Like when I hit the streets, it was like I'm going 100% in the other direction. Like, no, I ain't soft. I'm a crash out dummy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that was because I felt like I had something to prove because I don't feel like my dad was there to kind of give that to me. But I didn't realize just how much that was informing how I was fathering my kids. Like, yo, be tough, da da da. Until a few years ago, it was like, oh man, let me not like engage with them that way. But I realized like, yo, that ain't got nothing to do with them. Like that's the hard thing that's going on in me. All of that to say, like, has there been something throughout your fathering journey? Heck, I'll even extend it to your marriage, where it's like, yo, for being a husband and or a father, like something that has highlighted, like, okay, this is something, an area or an experience or a mindset that I need to like pray about and address in me, that I need to address in me, that's brought to light by me being a husband or a father.
Well, sometimes like when I'm dealing especially with my oldest son, he got a bad attitude, and you know, sometimes I feel kind of, I don't know, like nervous, like to talk to him. I don't know why, like why I feel
Okay.
nervous to talk to him, like, and I do, but for some reason I feel nervous doing it.
Okay.
I guess because I grew up without a dad, and my dad never sat and talked with me. So sometimes it's like I don't know how to approach, like how I don't know how to go about doing it.
Is it nervousness because you like, yo, I don't want to say the wrong thing, or is it nervousness because
That
is that? Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I'd be in that space. Well, so what do you like? How do you think in those moments where it's like, all right, well, because obviously you haven't checked out as a father. You're present. You're there. So like, what's the thought process to like, yo, even though I'm nervous, I'm still going to lean into whatever this moment is.
always, I mean, even though I'm nervous, I always tell him, I say, Messiah, that's my oldest son name. I say, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm always going to be here to help you. So when you feel I'm coming down on you, I'm being too hard, say I'm not doing it for my good. I say I'm doing it for you. I say, you remember when my brother's son got killed? I said, you remember him laying in that casket? Because I didn't go up and see him. I couldn't bear to see him laying in that casket. So I told my wife to take Messiah up there to go see him. I want him to see this. I said, you remember when he was laying in that casket? He said, yes, sir. I say, and you know why that? He said, you know why he was laying in that casket? I said, because he didn't want to listen. I said, he was angry at the world for no reason. I said, I don't want you to be like that. I say, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I allowed you to be like that.
Let me ask you a question, and let me ask you a question because I know like when you say that about nervous, I can identify with that from my own place where it's like there are times where I've been nervous as like a parent, as a father with my kids, but I've been nervous because of this sense of like, am I sure what I'm saying is right, or do I, because my dad wasn't there, so it's not like I have a blueprint to be like, okay, well when he said this, it meant something to me, and I applied it and it changed, right? It's like I'm coming up with the blueprint, so I'm like, I don't even know if like I know that it's more times like I'm being informed by the Bible, my faith, and my relationship with God, but it's like, but still if there is any deficiency in the process, if there's any weak link, if you will, in the process, like God's word is perfect, and prayer is perfect. His model is perfect. If any of that gets screwed up, it's probably going to be in my application of it because of I'm just a human. Like, and so my nervousness comes from like I don't really know if what I'm saying or doing is going to give me the result. And I'll just be like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'll be thinking sometimes like 10, 15 years down the road, like, I hope that I do them right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that what I'm giving them is what they need to actually be who I think they can be. That's where my nervousness come in there. I don't know if that's something that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, so, I got 3 kids. I got Maya's my daughter, and then my 2 boys. And it just be so crazy because, like, Maya, she's my oldest. She's like a young adult. And so you give your kids what you think they need with a certain result in mind, and then when you don't get the result that you think that you should get from what you gave, I go internal. I'm like, what did I not do for her to be?
Yeah.
And not that my daughter is amazing, like
I'm that way too.
like, but what did I not do? And I question myself because I'm like, I'm first generation doing this, and I don't got like, yo, pops, what should I da da da, yo, da da da, my robbing banks and all that. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the game that he gave me,
Yeah.
and so I'll be like, man, like as a man, I'm really just believing God that like, yo, the way I'm thinking, the way that my heart is, and what I'm investing in my kids is the right thing. But it be making me lean on the results of their life. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, well, if the results of their life is like as a report card for me, I don't think that's a real healthy space. You know what I'm saying? Because they still grown. If they decide to go out and rob a bank and be El Chapo, it ain't necessarily because I failed them as a parent. They just got their own choice to make. But because of the hurt and trauma that I'm still working through, it still be a little bit like, yeah, you kind of failed them as a parent. It's only because I didn't know if I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and saying as a parent, in the moment. And of course, we can't see 15 years from now. So I just be hoping, like, I hope I'm doing this right.
I mean, that's all we got. We just, it's a hope. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a hope because, like the saying goes, we can lead a horse to the water.
Mm-hmm. So you've been married 5 years.
5 years.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble, bro.
No, you can't get me in trouble.
I can't. Okay, see, that's that old school man energy I be liking, bro. That's what. I like to. Don't get myself in trouble. I was finna jump out the window. I be saying crazy stuff. People like, hey, yo, Josh, can you go out? Da, da, da. I was like, hey, man, go look at my closet. Like, you know what you gonna find in there? Pants. All pants.
Okay. I get it. I got it.
So is marriage what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we get along great.
Mm-hmm.
We've had our disagreements, but we can come to, mutual ground.
Uh-huh.
And it's never been none of that, none of this.
Yeah.
We don't raise our voices at each other.
Mm-hmm.
We talk through things, and just we get along for the most part.
What's your favorite part about being married?
My favorite part about being married, because
feel free to be as explicit. Well, not what you posted on Facebook. Don't get that.
No, I ain't gonna do that. My favorite part about being married is I just give her the money and she pay the bills.
That's your favorite part.
Pay the bills. I mean, just because she's always there, like just all like I can blame her for everything. My home was like, hey, you want to go somewhere? I'm like, let me ask my wife.
Oh, that's your
blame her. And she said, no.
Okay. You know what?
There you go.
I'm glad you said that because when I was like, hey, bro, let's hang out. You're like, my wife like, hey, bro, stop capping. Stop capping with me, bro. Do you or do you not want to hang out? That's funny. I do that sometimes too. Like, I don't know if my wife going. I don't want to do it. Yeah, my wife ain't going.
So I just blame her.
So is that's your favorite part of it? Like you got a built-in excuse that nobody can argue with. And pull your mic just a little bit closer. So you got a built-in excuse that nobody respectfully argue with. Like that's wife.
Yeah, they can argue with that.
Yeah.
They can't argue with it.
How did your family adjust to you being married? Because then, you're big with your family, and we used to live across the street from your family. So I know, and your family look up to you. But then you get married, and now you got somebody else who, now they priority seat number one.
Well, so during my wedding, my younger sister came and my auntie came. My mama didn't come. My two brothers didn't come. My older sister didn't come.
Really?
But like I told my wife, I say, I ain't marrying them. I'm marrying you. They say that, a man gonna leave his father and mother and cling to his wife. And they gonna become one. I was like, I ain't marrying them. I say, they missed it.
Right.
They missed it. And they love my wife.
Yep.
To this day, they love my wife. They like, I love her. She's so goofy. And that's what I love about her so much.
Really?
She's really goofy.
I've had very short, I think maybe 3 or 4 interactions with her over the year. And it's normally like in passing, like I'll either see her in the grocery store or if I see her down at the gym or whatever. And she always just so sweet. She seemed like she real soft-spoken and sweet.
She is.
Yeah, I'm like, she one of them type of people where it's like, yo, if somebody got a problem with her, it's probably you. Because like she's so sweet and like unoffensive. Just everything about her is like very like sweet and gentle. And yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you've had to work through in marriage?
Dealing with my baby mama. Oh my God. Dealing with her, like, oh my God, I felt like scrapping up like Rambo and like, oh my God, like this girl just sometimes, listen, my hair already falling, I be wanting to pull it out even more. I be like, man, this girl, like, she just make an argument for no reason. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's been challenging.
So it's so funny, man, as you just like, and once again, like when I started at the top of the episode where I was like, yo, it's a cheat code for me because I get to talk to people who I be wanting to have conversations with. And it's so funny because as you're just kind of unpacking your life, I'm like, man, there's so many similarities because Maya's my stepchild. And so we kind of had a blended family dynamic where the other parent was a challenge, at certain times. And so much so I've had the same feeling like, you know what, I'm just gonna get in the bushes one time and just go ahead and eliminate this problem out of my life. Yeah, so I get that. I get that. But what did or is that teaching you? Because you obviously we talking about going full like ballistic on them, but the truth of the matter is, as a man, we got to figure out how to make these worlds make sense. So like, what did or is like that teaching you?
It's teaching me that I'm in control of me. I got to be in control of me at all. And dealing with her, I want to. Sometimes I'll be about to lose control of me, but I always got to remind myself, like I'm in control of me. I got to be in control of me. Like I can't let nobody steal my joy. Can't let nobody get me out of my space. So it's helping me be more patient. It's teaching me to be more patient and just you gotta breathe.
Yeah. And it does get better with time. Your boy's still young. My daughter, my stepdaughter, she grown now. So as she got older, the blended family and outside influence dynamic got easier. It never like completely went away, but as she got older and was able to kind of have her own agency to think her own thoughts, make her own decisions, make her own assessments about our family dynamic, some of the challenges kind of work themselves out somewhat. But it'll get easier, bro, because your boy's still kind of young.
Yeah.
So I would say like over the last okay, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And then we gonna come back up and we'll kind of put a button on the conversation. All right. Listen, I'm enjoying this. I hope that you are enjoying this. Man, this is so good. Man, and there's so much still to your story. Like at this point, I'm just kind of like nosy. I just want to ask you a bunch of questions. But man, y'all stay around, stick around for whatever we're gonna shoot to our Words for Nerds segment, and we coming right back.
It's Words for Nerds.
Yo, what's up, experts? Let's get wordy. And this week's word for nerds is insatiable. Insatiable is actually one of my favorite words to use whenever I can squeeze it into conversation. And what the word means is not satiable. It means incapable of being satisfied or appeased. Now, on its face, that can almost sound like a negative thing. But insatiable doesn't always mean that it has a negative connotation to it. For example, this segment on this show is birthed out of an insatiable desire that I have for being able to articulate my thoughts in a way that are precise and clear. I have an insatiable desire for learning. On the other side of that, I also have an insatiable desire for fried chicken. Now, that doesn't mean that fried chicken is bad. God made that bird. But if I eat too much of it, it has negative consequences for my overall health. But I still have an insatiable desire for it because it just tastes so amazing. And so anyway, that's this week's Words for Nerd. Insatiable. Find a way to squeeze it into conversation this week. As always, I encourage you to comment in the comment section, using the word in a sentence. That helps to just kind of retain it into your psyche. If you really want to be, big and bad about it, get you some index cards. Write this word down on an index card and its definition. Tape it on the dashboard of your car. Put it in your back pocket. Just something to kind of keep it in front of you for the week. And I promise you, your base of vocabulary will grow and you'll be the better for it. People will begin to recognize you as someone who has an insatiable desire for knowledge and articulation. And so that's this week's Words for Nerds. Go be nerdy. Let's get back to the show. All right, welcome back. Words for Nerds. There you have it. You already know what this show is about. It is to enlighten, educate, and empower every human being to be the expert version of themselves. And so I hope you're getting that value with the Words for Nerds segment. Listen, don't be shy about using that word in a sentence this week, using that word as you're conversing with your coworkers, with someone at the grocery store, with your family members. Application of these words is how we retain them. And so a good way to start applying this word is to drop a comment. You write a sentence using the word of the week, okay? And as you write it and you say it, and it becomes more of a repetition in your mind, before you know it, you'll be done added at least 52 words to your vocabulary this year. That's a wonderful podcast. You've added 52 words to your vocabulary this year. Man, like, subscribe, turn notifications on, all that good stuff, because you right where you should be. And so listen, we still talking with my homeboy Robert, man. I started by saying one of the things that I think is a really awesome representation of you is like, yo, the way that you carry yourself as a man in the world. I would say, like, yo, over the last 5, maybe a little bit more years or so, like, there's been a a declining, I would say, in terms of like how men look at manhood, how men define manhood, how men embody manhood in the world. You got a lot of 50-50 talk out here. You got a lot of transactional talk where, like, typically, men are really just agenda driven, like they're trying to get something out of a woman for their own benefit, whether that's sex or influence or opportunity or whatever the case may be. And this is not to bash men. I just think that we don't have enough good models to kind of be a representation of what good, healthy, balanced masculinity looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was talking about how I whoop you and toss you up and all that, and then you looked at me like, yeah, 640, 245. Like, I felt that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that's just a little, that's like yo, yeah, no, but it's not like rah energy. You know, it's like, yo, I know who I am. Like, I'm comfortable in who I am, what I am. And so you even when you talk about, like, yo, you said one of the favorite things about being married, like, yo, I make the money, I give it to wifey. I'm the same way. I tell my wife all the time, like, yo, this is your house. I just live in it. One of the greatest joys was like, yo, I was able to buy a house. And it wasn't ever necessarily for me. I was cool, bro. Like, bro, I come from a lot of nothing. I can sit, and you give me, a refrigerator, a TV, a couple of books, I'm good. But the accomplishment of buying a house was for my wife and for my kids. Like, yo, I was able to do that. Where do you, especially when you talk about, like, yo, your pops wasn't really around, where do you get this grid for manhood from? Like, where does this code for how you carry yourself as a man, where do you get that from? Where have you gotten that from?
My granddaddy, my mom's dad, my uncle Tommy Lee Myers. Just, I don't know, TV, just seeing a lot of things that, men that I looked up to. Mr. Knowles, Kevin Knowles, I love that man. I love that guy.
Who was that?
Kevin Knowles, he's a pastor. He's actually a pastor, man. I
Local?
love that.
Here?
He's in Fort Myers right now. No, he's in Vero Beach. He's in Vero Beach, man. He was here. Love that guy.
Okay.
Just different mentors that I looked up to, and just seeing, how they interacted with people, how they interacted with their family.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, took something from everybody. I'm that way. I take something from everybody.
Mm-hmm. Man, you and I are so alike, because one of the questions I have for you was, like, how important has community been for you? I think that when you grow up without, like, that nuclear family, having good community is even more important.
Yes.
Because I didn't have, like, those models and go-tos, like, in my under the roof that I lived in growing up. But similar to what you're saying, like, God connected me with 10 really good men over the course of a decade, where it's like, I get a little piece from you, get a little piece from you. I don't really like that, but I'm gonna get this piece from you. This, and it's like, it's almost like, you know, cumulatively, all of those different models, those father figures, if you will, like became one dad kind of deposit in my mind. And it sounds like it was kind of the same scenario for you. Yeah. And so it like, what, I know this is a broad question, so definitely feel free to think through it if you need to, but like, what does manhood like mean to you?
Oh, definitely being responsible. You definitely got to be responsible. And what I mean by responsible, um, just owning. You gotta own it. Like if you mess up, can't be afraid to say I messed up. But can I do better? Yeah, I can do better. Just especially with kids, responsibility. There, you can't separate the two. If you got kids and you're not being responsible, that ain't manhood to me.
Yeah.
Like you created something that looks like you, that came from your body. How can you deny that? Like, and I'm big on, you know, being there for my kids, being that my daddy wasn't there for me. I definitely want to give them what I wasn't given.
Yeah.
And that's from the day each and every one of them was born. I was there watching them be born, clipping the umbilical cord, getting the car seat.
Strapped in.
I'm talking
Yeah.
from day one.
Yeah.
From day one, all the birthdays,
Yeah.
everything. I'm always there.
What would you say? What would you say to a dude that's like, yeah, I feel you, I'm with you on that, but my baby mama, she just be tripping and makes it really difficult and challenging for me to be in my kid's life?
I'm kind of speechless on that because anything you set your mind to, you can accomplish. Hey, I'm real. Listen, I'm ready to go to war about my kids. Like whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I ain't gonna let you make it difficult for me. We're gonna figure out a way. I don't care if we gotta go through the court system, which I disagree with. I don't want to go through the court system. Like a court system shouldn't have to tell me to be a man to my kids. Shouldn't have to write out something. Oh, I need you to follow these guidelines, and I don't need all that.
Yeah.
That's not what I need. I don't need you to make it even harder for me. But if I gotta go that route, I'm willing to go that route. If you're trying to make it hard for me, now we got to go this route. So to say that the baby moms make it, and it's in certain cases I have seen that they do try to make it hard. But hey, you gotta dig deep. You gotta buckle down.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine not being in my kid's life. So also, once again, similar to you, like I'm thankful that I didn't have any kids before being locked up, because I would have been present, but I know the mindset that I was in, I would have been a horrible like father. But it wasn't until like I got older, when I came home, particularly when the Lord saved me and I began to like be around a community of dudes. So like, even like, cause you already know when you down, they just give you that little white razor. Everything is just a straight shave. So when I got out, I never like handled a pair of clippers before. I didn't even know how to do that. And so I was at my homeboy house, who's like a bigger brother to me, and he was in the bathroom shaving, and I was just standing by the door, and he didn't even know at the moment. He was like being a father to me, and we've never talked about it. I've mentioned it, but like him and I have never like, oh yeah, I knew. I was like I just was looking at him, like at the way that he twisted the clippers and he got this and got that and all of that, and because I had been home for like 2 years, still just baby face with it, until I see him. I went and go bought a pair of clippers. I'm like, okay, so this is how you do this. You know what I'm saying? So like, not being able to be there for my sons, to like give them that, I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
Like I just literally cannot imagine a world or an existence where like I know I have kids out there and I'm not there actively like shaping them or depositing in them. You know?
I know exactly what you mean, because I done took my two oldest too. They done been to a couple of my fights and been there before anybody was there. Like they with me in the dressing room and stuff. So it's been time where I walk into the venue and they'll see the ring or whatever the case may be. They'll look at me and say, "Daddy, you finna fight tonight?" I say, "Yeah, Daddy got to fight tonight." It's just a good feeling. I got pictures in there. They in the ring with me. We got the belt and stuff. And
yeah.
It's a good. They in the back in the dressing room. We wrestling, playing around and stuff.
So what are like? Give me like, how do you want your boys to remember you? Like, what do you want to leave most with them? Like when you gone, like yo, if they say, man, I remember my daddy was or my daddy did. What are like one or two things that you want to leave with your boys?
I want them to remember, Daddy always got up early to start his day. I get up at 4:00 in the morning to start my day. That Daddy, he went to work and he just wasn't lazy. Daddy, you got to get up. Don't expect no handout. You got to get up and make things happen. Ain't nothing on. It says what that lazy man he don't eat. So you got to get up and get going.
Once again, bro, like that game, recognized game, like there's so much in that, but I tell my boys the same thing from the same heart place where it's not like the world ain't against you, but it ain't for you neither. You know what I'm saying? The world is as for you as much as you are for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the world will bend in your direction when you show up for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you don't, the world, no one's coming to save you. Yeah. I was literally just this past weekend because I've kind of transitioned in my headspace towards my sons because like this year kind of marked to me. It was like, okay, this is super development time for the next 10 years because before it was like more nurturing and type of situation. And I was telling my son, because my sons, they don't value money. And me and my wife was talking about this, and part of that is our fault because like typically what they want, if within reason, like we get it for them, and they don't want much. They want to go to Five Below and ball out with $5. That's typically what they want, but they get that when the occasion serves itself. And so if you tell my boys now, I give you $100, they'll be like, okay, because they can't esteem like what that really means for their life, right? And I was telling Steph like, yeah, we got to stop just doing for them. Like in terms of like going to Five Below and like, all right, we give y'all $5. Like, no, make them earn that so they will like begin to understand the value of like, oh, this money represents what I'm able to do in the world, right? And so my son wanted this. Our dog chewed up his Nintendo Switch, chewed up Minecraft or whatever. Okay. And so he's like, Dad, I want to get this new Minecraft. It's $30, whatever. I'm like, all right, get it. He nod. He looking at me like, I know. That's why I'm talking to you. And I'm like, nah, bro, you get it. It's like, you get an allowance, right? He like, yeah. I'm like, okay, do your choice. How much it costs? $30. Okay, you get $5 a week. How many weeks is it going to take you to save that? 6 weeks, whatever. He did the math. I'm like, cool. And so we in Best Buy. And he see the game, he's showing it to me or whatever, and I pull him aside. And I'm like, son, because when he asked me, he was like, can you get this game for me for my birthday? I was like, when's your birthday? He's like, September. So we did the math. Oh, that's 5 months away. So you're asking me to do something for you that you're willing to wait 5 months from now, but you're not gonna put the work in for 6 weeks and get it for yourself? Think about that, son. You asking me to do something that I'm willing to do, but you got to wait 5 months for me to do it. You can do it for yourself in 6 weeks. Which one do you want?
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
And then he was like, he still didn't really, but I know I'm training him, right? And so we in there, and I'm like, in terms of like doing it for like, ain't nobody gonna help you. And I was showing him again. I was like, how much you get? $5 a week, whatever. I was like, yo, a smart man would be like, man, I want that game like ASAP. That what I gotta do to earn $10 a week. What else can I do? I was like, this is how you got to be thinking. And I told him, I was like, now don't ask me for that now because I gave you that idea. I was like, but don't sit around and wait for me to think for you. Like if you want it, think for yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
Like daddy not gonna show up thinking for you. Nobody gonna show up thinking for you. You got to show up thinking for you. And so, in terms of what you said, like yo, it's not like you not trusting the world, but like yo, it's all on you. It's that thing where it's like, all right, what do I got to do to connect the dot to where I want to go to? Because ain't nobody gonna help you with the in between of them dots, but you.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? And like, yo, we got to instill that in our sons early so they not waiting around like, well, ain't nobody called me back from the job interview. Ain't nobody, bro, what you mean?
I don't wait for nobody to call me back. I'm calling you.
Exactly. I'm showing up. Like, hey, what's up? I interviewed just last week.
And I'm dressed and ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you want me to start?
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel that when you say like that is, you know, what you want to impart to your sons. I think that's just I don't even want to say game because it's not a game. That's just amazing life principle. All right, we about done. I want to shoot some rapid fire questions at you real quick, and I intentionally didn't text you these. Okay, who's your GOAT right now? GOAT of all GOATs. Who's the GOAT?
I'm LeBron, man.
You a LeBron guy?
I'm LeBron.
You LeBron over Jordan?
I'm LeBron, man.
There we go.
I'm LeBron.
See, I knew why I had you on this podcast. There we go. Top 3 movies. Any movies?
4 Brothers.
Really?
Temptations. And 5 Heartbeats.
You old school with it.
Man, come on.
Okay. Favorite verse in the Bible?
Corinthians, when I was a child, I spoke as a child.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That verse.
That makes sense. Last one. You stuck on a remote island, 10 years. You can only bring 3 things with you. What you bringing with you?
3 things.
10 years.
Bringing my wife.
There we go.
Bringing some food and some water.
I'm going to count the food and water as one. You got one more.
I'm going to have a boat so I can...
Oh, that's a cheat code. All right, I'll put you on boat.
Listen, I'm still stuck there. I want to be on the boat.
I got you. So you helping me refine the question for the next guest. So now I'm going to tell them no boats. But I got you. Oh, this is the last one. I promise the last one. Favorite meal. You can eat it every day if you wanted to.
Probably broccoli and chicken.
Broccoli. Why you ain't tell me that? I could have made the broccoli and chicken.
I love broccoli. Love broccoli.
You see how serious I take cooking and all that? I was low-key offended that you got such a small portion of the fish that I cook. I'm offended at my producer too, because he's still has not to this day eaten anything that, you know, I'm trying to bougie Negroes. Okay, so are there any supplements or because you've been talking about this peptide and all the type of stuff I be on your timeline? What are some good supplements or vitamins that men mid-30s and older should be taking?
Zinc, potassium, magnesium.
And why? Give us a short why.
These are vitamins that they're detrimental to your survival. You absolutely positively need this stuff. Okay. Magnesium, that's even in the food that you eat, but once you cook it, you're cooking the
nutrients out of it.
Cooking it right out of it.
You said zinc, potassium,
magnesium. I take fish oil.
Like the omega-3, 6-9 joints?
Yeah,
okay.
I take them. And being that I'm big into fitness, I do the creatine. Mm-hmm. I get my whey protein.
Okay.
It's fast absorbing until the muscle helps with recovery, repair. I do my BCAA, it's branched chain amino acids.
Was that a powder?
Yeah, I do it. It comes in the powder form. But I started taking these peptides.
What is that?
It's actually you have I think it's 7,000 amino peptides occurring in the body, but these peptides that I'm currently taking, so you got fit, hydrate, calm, focus, energize.
These are different like versions of.
Yeah, but see, these peptides, they're designed to just what they're just like fit is designed. It has a special design, and it goes and does exactly what it's supposed to do. Energize. It has a special design, and it goes and does exactly what it's designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to. Whereas as you're taking a supplement, you might not get that whole 100% of that supplement. A peptide is it has a special task and it goes and does that task.
I got you. I would ask which ones, but for you to shot whoever them people out, they got to pay you for that. So we just gonna keep it random and say peptides. But my peptide people out there, you need to get with my boy because you do be on Facebook talking about peptides. You made me want to look into it.
It's a game changer. Listen, when I was just on this cruise, I had to tell my wife, I say, baby, I want to put back on my clothes because I had on my bathing suit. Man, them people were staring me down. I felt naked.
Why? Because your package on the bottom or just your upper body?
I was like, listen, I'm talking about walking by people live. One lady, we on the elevator, she said, nice tattoos. Went to grab my arm. She's like, and very big muscles. My wife said, I started to pop her hand. Listen,
you gotta be careful.
It was crazy.
What cruise line were you on?
Margaritaville of the Sea. We went to the Bahamas.
Yeah, that sounds like a cruise that a bunch of old people be on.
No, it was nice.
I know I'm saying that to protect you because you go in there and you don't come out. It turned into a what's the movie where they was snatching up black people?
Get Out.
It turned into a Get Out cruise situation. It turned you into a sex slave on that boat.
Listen, man, I said, baby, I gotta put back on my clothes. I don't feel comfortable.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, man, like, whoa.
So the peptides, shoot me the information when we get done because I want to look into that. Man, bro, I appreciate you being on. This was so good, man. Some of the things that you shared, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but like just so surprised in the similarity of our journeys and kind of like the same trajectory and path. I think that the more that who you are becomes the rule and not the exception, like the better like our communities and our world would be. And so one of the reasons that I really was like super excited to have you on, it was like, man, yo, this platform is not about like whoever, culture or the world will like prop up as some guru about whatever. It's about me, you, people who are like, yo, really everyday regular people living our life, but very effectively, and in a way that I think will leave a really powerful legacy behind all these kids that you touch in the community. Not even talking about your own family. The leader that you are in the community, the leader that you are in like the fitness and health world. You know what I'm saying? Inspiring men like myself who 40s. I'm still Unc Junior. You full blown Unc. You and so y'all full blown Unc. I'm Unc Junior. But like as I'm getting older and I see like my back and my joints don't like they aren't as fluid as before, and I see you just like you up 5 a.m, peptides, and I'm like, I got to get my life together. You know what I'm saying? And so like those are just wonderful models that I think the world needs to see, and that I think would just contribute so much to people at large. So with that said, man, y'all definitely make sure y'all go tap in with my brother, follow him on all his social medias, and your handles are going to come up on the screen, your Facebook, your IG, all of the places where you can connect with him. I also encourage you all, because this is someone who is really in the community, like really doing the work with kids in our neighborhood and in this generation. And so even if you want to contribute financially, you can connect with him on that. I can assure you anything that you give is going to go directly into impacting the Central Florida community in a positive way. Man, thank you, bro. Thank you, man. This was a pleasure, man. All right, episode 4 is in the bag. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, share it with all your peoples. Expert Human Podcast exists to enlighten, educate, and empower every human being to be the expert version of themselves. This one was one for the books. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. We out of here.